this guy there. We've seen the usage go down, and we've seen his price come up. They haven't been looking as good. The Detroit defense has been a little stiffer as of late. So I think I'm going to pretty much avoid the 49ers. I was loving playing Jerome there to play a guy from the Niners, have, a little home team interest. But I think we're going to have to skip that this week.
Okay, and one more thing here. Jacksonville, New Orleans here. Do you think Blake Bortles and Drew Brees are headed toward a classic shootout? And if so, which quarterback would you play as your starting quarterback out of those two?
I love both those guys this week. I actually wrote up Blake Bortles in my article, contest-winning plays this week. And, I think I'd go with him over Drew Brees. I mean, he just has better weapons. He has Allen Robinson, Allen Hurst, Julius Thomas. Denard Robinson looks like he's going to be a go. He's good out of the backfield, running and catching the ball. I think it just comes down to the weapons, Brandon Cooks, he's legit, but, they've faltered at times. Snead, Watson, they're going to these, second-tier guys, and they pushed Brandon Cooks up to that, starter number one wide receiver role after he wasn't used to that. And it doesn't seem this year that he's been able to, really take that role and run with it. And because you see Snead sneaking up, getting a lot more targets than him. So, yeah, I just love the pass catchers a lot more on the Jacksonville side, and I think that's going to bolster Blake Bortles' value. So I love him.
Okay, so it sounds like a good time to pick up Allen Robinson and Allen Hurst if you can afford it, huh?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was just looking over here on Pro Football Focus, and Allen Robinson has the best matchup of the week versus Pro Football Focus, worst-graded corner in the league, Brandon Browner. What happened to him? He used to be, just murdering it, and now he's the worst in the league, and Allen Robinson is going to tear him up this week.
No, it'd be interesting to take a look at there. You got any questions over there for Matt Josh?
Well, Browner led the league in pass interferences last year, so. But anyways, yes, I absolutely do have a question, Matt. I love entering the tournaments where you're only picking between two games, and we have a Thursday and Saturday entry we can do on DraftKings. So with the San Diego and Oakland game and Washington Philly game. Now, the one problem I've always encountered in these type of tournaments is that you have to have that one guy that no one else picks to win the whole thing. So out of those four teams, what guy that most people aren't going to be picking is going to be the guy that shows up in that game, in one of those games.
So you got to go for a really low-end guy that has that boom or bust. A couple guys that just come to mind off the top of the head, Josh Huff on the Eagles, Riley Cooper. People hate those guys and they don't play them. Malcolm Floyd has some upside on the Chargers, but I think there'll be plenty of people that'll be playing him. Seth Roberts on the Raiders, I think he's worth.
Yeah, I like that one.
He definitely took over the third wide receiver role, but I definitely think he'll have a decent amount of ownership. Maybe a little Pierre Garçon, for the amount of targets, his ownership has been below 2-3% almost every week. So that's a guy you might want to look at. Yeah, those are the first guys that really come to mind that I think that will be really low owned.
Yeah, I like Roberts for sure. I was thinking that was the guy you were probably going to say, so I'm not. You pretty much gave me the answer I was going to go with, I guess, is what I would say.
Yeah, well, it seems like, Carr will just lock in on him sometimes and just, pepper him with a few targets here or there and, just really get him involved, give him like 4 or 5 targets, and then, other games he won't really get much action.
Do you enter these type of tournaments with the two game options, or are you more into the full slate?
I don't really like to play the 2 games. I'll play 3 games. I like that Thanksgiving slate, but 2 games is just, it's really, it becomes luck because the good plays are pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And, there's just so much overlap. You can't really get ahead unless you like we were just talking about, you're throwing shots. I mean, those guys, there's a very low percentage chance that they're going to hit, and you're banking, your bankroll on that. I mean, I don't know. For me, that just seems a little risky.
Yep.
Good points there, Matt. And I'm hoping myself that Seth Roberts has himself another big-time game, especially with Crabtree coming off of that concussion. But I'm hoping that all will be well, and the Raiders, those targets, they'll just light up that San Diego defense like a Hanukkah bush and keep them with the Christmas theme here. So I'm really looking forward to that. And thanks again for another wonderful, exciting segment this week, Matt. Tell all the people here on the West Coast Recess where they can find your wonderful work.
Check out my DraftKings contest winning plays article at xnsports.com. sports.com. The FanDuel version is at thirddown.com. That's 3RDOWN.com. Follow me on Twitter. The same as the website, except the dot is spelled out DOT. Thank you for having me once again, fellas. Always a pleasure, and I hope you have a happy holiday.
You too, man.
Oh, it'll be a great holiday, Matt, if the Raiders get the job done tomorrow. But it'll be a good holiday anyway. I just want that win to make it even better. And happy holiday to you and yours out there, and hopefully you make a little money this week there. We look forward to running into you again next week with another exciting money-making segment.
I think they'll get the W, buddy.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
Good luck.
All right, thank you. All right, and another exciting episode of Money Making with Matt. How did you learn a little bit there this week there, Josh?
I always learn when Matt's on. He definitely has the information that people probably would not know unless, but he puts in the work to find out all the information that you need. And people should definitely go visit his website and look at what he has. He has a lot more information that he didn't even tell us here. So definitely go listen, or go read, I should say.
Yeah, no doubt. And before we move on here, your Thunder are kicking the hell out of my Lakers right now. It's 57-46 Thunder at the half. So
well, it's actually closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, the Lakers are trying to hang for a minute there.
Yeah. Well, the Thunder definitely defensively allow teams that aren't very good to hang around. So I think they'll pull away. Hopefully. I mean, well, technically you would say generally that they have already pulled away, but it's the Lakers, so.
Yeah, well, my thing is, I just want to win enough games. I don't want to win too many games because Philadelphia will get that draft pick. But at least the Lakers are keeping the crowd happy. I mean, they're playing competitive games, so you can't really be too upset about that.
That's right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and now we move on back here to the previews here. We got our next game here. We got the recaps, rather. We got the Cleveland Browns traveling into Seattle. I mean, Johnny Manziel, he did all right. But, I mean, there's not really much you could do when you go into Seattle and battle that 12th man. And with the Hawks playing their best football of the year, I mean, it's going to be tough for anybody, let alone the Cleveland Browns. I mean, Doug Baldwin got into the end zone again Sunday. Russell Wilson actually broke a record with his 5th consecutive game of 3 touchdown passes with 0 interceptions. In Seattle, they continue to roll. I mean, it looks like Christine Michael is going to be their guy now going forward until Marshawn Lynch returns. The Browns just really with no answer in this one. Seattle, 30. Cleveland, 13. The Hawks, they win their 5th straight. Your thoughts on this game here, Josh?
Well, the Cleveland's not any good, so I mean, that's really the reality of this game, and it's just another. I know I knock Seattle every week, but the fact of the matter is they haven't been playing anyone. So I mean, the last good game win they have to me is the Steelers. They beat the Steelers, but I'm not a big on the Vikings. Sorry. And then you got the Ravens and Browns, and they lost to the Cardinals. They barely beat the Cowboys. I mean, I'm just not. They got beat by the Panthers. It's just I'm not buying. And they were struggling against Cleveland in the first half of this game. And the one thing I'll say though is Seattle does have a bunch of players who step up that wouldn't start on most teams. Like Jermaine Kearse in this game was a guy who came through with 110 yards receiving, and then Doug Baldwin had been on fire, and actually he got 2 more touchdowns in this game, which apparently he's their Rob Gronkowski or something. I don't know what's going on there, but he's a touchdown machine lately. But other than that, it was Cleveland. It's not like they were playing anyone good. So.
Oh man, people from Cleveland are going to kick your ass one of these days, Josh.
Well, that's all right. I mean, hey, that Browns team's been awful for quite a long time. So.
Yeah, I guess they don't call those guys the factory of sadness for nothing, huh?
No, sir.
All right, moving on to our next one here, and we got another final game here, and this game seemed more final than the one here in St. Louis, where the San Diego Chargers playing possibly their final game. The San Diego Chargers playing possibly their final game in San Diego. They go out and they just probably play one of the best games they played all season, taking their frustrations out on a hapless Miami Dolphin team. I mean, we saw vintage Phillip Rivers out there throwing 4 touchdown passes, and Danny Woodhead looked pretty well also, and it seems like that Charger defense, hey, they look like the Charger defense of old, really giving Ryan Tannehill not much to do in this game. But I think the great part about it was at the end when they gave Malcolm Floyd, Phillip Rivers, and Antonio Gates like the benching at the end of the game to pretty much have San Diego say goodbye to those guys. Because to me, I do think it's over in San Diego. Next season, you will see the L.A. Chargers. I can't really say if you will or not for the Rams, but I am operating under the premise that Sunday was the final San Diego Charger football game in San Diego. Your thoughts, Josh?
Well, San Diego, Danny Wood had 9 touchdowns on the air. He's been impressive all year, and actually he's probably the best player on the team, which is the interesting part of it. Well, other than Phillip Rivers, of course. And San Diego kind of got a run game going in this game, and they got 140 yards on the ground, and Donald Brown actually had a decent game at almost 8 yards a carry. I don't know about you, Jerome, but I'm so sick of hearing about Miami Dolphins are going to compete in the AFC East. Every year, the last 2 years, it's been the mantra of all the AFC East Patriot haters that the Dolphins are the team that's going to come after New England. This team isn't coming after anyone. I mean, they're beating out Buffalo for last place is about who they're coming after. That's about all they're going to do.
Well, I'll say this much, Josh. I mean, I hate to say this, but as long as Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are members of the New England Patriots, I don't think it's going to be easy for any of those 3 other teams to compete in the AFC East. I mean, I think the Jets are doing about as well as they possibly can, but Miami and Buffalo, they've got a long way to go. So I don't think you have to worry about either one of these teams for at least the next 3 to 4 years.
Oh, trust me, I'm not worried about Miami at all.
And, well, I don't think San Diego or much of America is either there, so I don't blame you, Josh. San Diego 30, Miami 14. Sure. Next up here, we got ourselves another game that's kind of a bit of a snoozer here. Cincinnati with A.J. McCarron making his first start. I didn't watch much of this game, so I really couldn't tell you much of anything about it here. I just know that they took the wood to the 49ers 24-14, and I saw A.J. Green make himself a nice big catch, and I see McCarron threw himself a touchdown pass here. So you probably know more about this matchup than I do here, Josh. Talk to me a little bit about the Bengals and 49ers.
Well, the one thing that the Bengals did right in this game is they didn't allow A.J. McCarron to throw the ball too many times, and I think that's what a big difference between what the Bengals did in this game and what the Broncos have been doing in the game we're about to talk about. They just let him get comfortable, and he was actually very accurate when he threw the ball, 15 for 21, had 1 touchdown pass, but he only had 192 yards passing through the air, but they controlled the ball, I think, was the main reason why they won this game, and they definitely didn't have great offensive stats. They just did what they needed to do. I mean, Blaine Gabbert threw 3 interceptions in this game, so they turned the ball over, and they definitely had to hold on still, though, because this game wasn't over going into the fourth quarter. I mean, San Francisco was kind of in the game still, so, I mean, 14-24, they were only, a couple plays away from being back in this game, so, but Cincinnati got it done, and they got a tough game ahead, so.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty fun game Monday night. I really look forward to it there. We move on here to this game here in Steeltown. That was a pretty tough one. Denver, they jumped out all over Pittsburgh like world beaters early. Osweiler throwing touchdown passes to Demaryius Thomas and to Emmanuel Sanders in the first half, taking themselves a 27-10 halftime lead. But the interesting thing is, I mean, football's a two-half game, and Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown, they just went to work on the Steelers on the Broncos in the second half. 3 touchdown passes for Roethlisberger in that half. I mean, Brown caught 2, and you got Marcus Wheaton getting into the end zone. And the Steelers, they show you why they're a very, very dangerous football team, and they should fear no one in the AFC or in the NFL for that matter. They overcome the 27-10 deficit rather easily and take down the Broncos 34-27. And with that, Denver still has a clinched a playoff berth, and if they lose to Cincinnati Monday, they're really going to be in a precarious position going into Week 17 there. So, Josh, tell me, do you think that the Steelers are one of the AFC's teams that really is a serious challenger to New England right now?
Yes, absolutely. Think that. I think Pittsburgh creates a lot of matchup issues for New England, although New England's secondary is actually pretty darn good, and they're the one team that I do think has the talent to cover these receivers. Antonio Brown is going to get catches against any team. He's that good of a player. But just this game in general, Denver had this game in hand, and they did everything wrong in the second half to let this one get away. And now they're in a lot of trouble because if they lose this week to the Bengals, they are in a precarious situation because I forgot who they had the last week. I'm sure you know off the top of your head.
They host San Diego week 17. But
that's a win.
The Chargers do seem like they're trying to play some good football, and they could be a spoiler if Rivers is motivated for that one, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a possibility for that, but I think Denver needs to get the job done this week and not put any hope in beating San Diego, because San Diego would have no issue knocking Denver out of the playoff situation.
Oh, sure. I'm sure, no doubt. I mean, hell, I wish the Raiders played Denver week 17 so we could do it, but hey, we got the job done 2 weeks ago, so all is well.